Howdy and welcome to Rauta's non-metal videos. This time I'm obviously sitting here at my home gym, but we're not gonna talk about powerlifting, we're not gonna talk about metal, we're gonna talk about beer. Now those of you, once again, who have been following the channel quite some time or know me in real life know that I'm quite of a beer fan. Now I wouldn't call myself a beer snob or beer connoisseur or beer enthusiastic, even though I guess those would be rather good description for me, but let's just go, but maybe the beer enthusiast is just fine, I guess. The thing here is, I love tasting different kind of beers, and it was since 2009 when I found that the world is so much more filled with different kind of tasting beer than just, you know, your typical lagers and your, well, other variations of sorts. I mean, obviously, even basic stouts and stuff like that were there when I was young. I mean, I'm talking about in the bars. Obviously, around the world, you have had these fantastic type of beers for centuries. But you have to understand that before this kind of a craft beer boom, Finland wasn't exactly the place where you would have all these super interesting, highly, how to say, different kind of beers. You know, you had basically basic lager beer. Well, you had the normal one and then the kind of a darker type. I'm talking about Czech beer, you know, the dark lager type. And of course you had some Weissbier, that is wheat beer. But mostly it was just that. I mean, it took like quite a few years for Finland to have all these beer connoisseurs, or should we say beer ambassadors, to actually bring all kind of IPAs, not to mention sours, which came a lot later. Now the point is, I'm rambling way too much. The point here is, Finland wasn't that much of a beer country. Nowadays we have a pretty cool amount of different kind of breweries, you know, scattered through the whole country. But there are plenty of places, plenty of people who are just, you know, getting their favorite cheap ass lager, whether it's just to enjoy a couple of beers right after sauna, or maybe after a, I don't know, dinner, or just, you know, get wasted. The basic thing what people do with alcohol. Now me, however, on the other hand, how I enjoy my beer nowadays is that I mostly have 1 to 3 beers a night. And it's not like I have beer every night. Usually it's very restricted to my Friday or Saturday nights when I'm, I guess, gaming, doing something by the computer, sometimes Rauta related, something's totally different. But usually, you know, when it's just my personal time off, you know, enjoying whatever, maybe watching a movie even. Anyway, people know that I love beer, and I've been reviewing quite a few beers on the channel as well, but they're all more or less metal related, that is banned beers basically. And sometimes on my streams I obviously have some beers which I have bought or being, you know, gifted by someone. I don't know many people who give me beers. But this time I have a really special package, and this was sent to me by a friend who lives some 600 kilometers away from here, who just happens to work at a brewery. I'm not exactly sure why he decided to give me this gift. I'm very thankful. Thank you, Jari. And he decided to give me a little bit of a taster what's going on where he lives and where he works at. And like I said, I'm really thankful for him for this package. To be honest, when he told me that he was gonna send me a couple of beers, I exactly meant like a couple of beers, maybe 2, maybe 4 beers. But it seems like I have a nice collection of beers which I have never actually tasted. As you can see, 12 beers all in all, 2 6-packs. And these, my friends, are not your typical beers. So I am using this box to tell you about my beer love, this love for beers, but also to talk about these particular beers which were sent to me because they are not really metal related. But like I said, the least thing I can do for my friend giving me such a pricey, nice gift is to tell you about these beers, that is, show you a few, have a couple of them today and save maybe a couple more for next Rauta stream, that is the May stream, which is supposed to be out there like a couple of weeks. Since I don't know any of these beers, I'm gonna have to read the labels here, and I have no idea what to expect really. For example, this one is, by the way, called Maistila. I don't know how well the Zoom can see that. I'm just operating this video by my phone. But this is De Va De Bruxelles 3. Sounds very, very Belgium type of beer. And this is to be like a little bit of a fruity Belgium kind of wheat beer. Maybe not the typical beer I'm into, but nevertheless interesting. I always like tasting new beers. Doesn't matter if it's, you know, my favorite kind of beers like IPAs, sour beers, stouts, and of course some Belgian beer. Then we have Purpura Vyöhyke, which translates to like a crimson zone, purple zone. And this is supposed to be a sour cherry beer. Just happens to be one of my favorite type of beers all time. I like the graphic design these guys have done, so I'm really expecting this beer to be really good as well. This is interesting. Helakka, which could be used to describe certain color, but it's also like a wordplay in a way. Helakka, you know, like a hell bitch. Now, this is probably not what the guys had in mind, but nevertheless. And this is supposed to be very, very fruity, having like, what the hell, I don't even know what this forest strawberry is called. There's different name for that in English. But also, you know, strawberries and this one, you know, plant I cannot even remember. Anyway, this is supposed to be sour ale. Once again, really, really looking forward to that. Then we have Triple, which is a Belgium kind of a beer. Looks very, very interesting. This is definitely your typical stuff that you can buy in a Finnish grocery store. This is also very interesting. Mango Tango, which seems to be a mango sour beer. Fuck me, I'm getting very, very thirsty just by reading these little different labels. And then there's a funny one. Mood Milky Stout. Well, that's why they have cows, you know. Well, these are the kind of stouts I'm really into. There are some stouts which I'm not too fancy about, and they are imperial stouts of certain nature. Usually, they are kind of too strong. I don't say I'm this douche who can't handle strong beers, but sometimes some imperial stouts are just like too strong in a wrong way. Then we have this really funny named Tentacule. This is also a sour ale, but it's a fake sour ale. It's kind of a salty with lime and peach. Very, very interesting. I'm highly interested. If you want to call me now beer hipster, it's totally fine. No denying that I like interesting one. Then we have Soidinmenot Saison. And Soidinmenot is like this couplement process. You know, like when you're trying to court someone, maybe into a relationship or sexual encounter of, let's put it this way, an encounter of sexual nature. That's what you have, Soidinmenot. This is a funny one. Muisku, featuring a frog. And now what the hell is raparperi? It's like, I really can't remember. You know, it's this kind of a plant which has this very, it's a certain word for that. Fuck, I can. Well, maybe you will just check it out. And then we have one of these imperial stouts called Bully. Very, very dark. And Bully seems to indicate here kind of a bulldog look based on the label here. Last but not least, well, this is not last, second to last, is Leiskaus, Belgium type of rye beer. Supposedly reddish or brownish, I would say, I guess. Leiskaus means kind of like flames, you know, a flame, something like that. And then last but not least, we have Vallesmanni. Now that is a word I don't know how to translate because I'm not actually sure about this. This is kind of old school title. I I might be totally wrong here, but something really points me in my head that Vallesman is one of those kind of a old school name for not police officer, but a legal kind of a person. But I know now I'm not sure. Not definitely not landlord. I don't know why I'm thinking of landlord. Anyway, it's the kind of old school names, and I don't know why this countryman is riding an elephant. Anyway, the point here is fantastic selection of 12 different kind of beers here, and these all pretty much captures my interest very well. I mean, you have a couple of different sours here. You have Imperial Stout, you have Belgium kind of beer, you have milk stout, you have even the wheat beer, even though I'm not usually that much of a fan. But what you don't have here is that Pilsner, Kölsch, or Lager, the kind of a very, very light, very easy, almost tasteless like of beer. I mean, there are tasteful Pilsner beers and lagers, but usually they are preferred like when you're taking sunbathing or going to a sauna and you just want your thirst to be quenched by a beer. So this kind of selection alone is very, very good indication of what we have going on here in Finland at the moment. Now, like I said, this Maistila brewery is something that I haven't yet had. Maybe because it could be really, really local thing for Oulu area, which is once again some 600 kilometers away from here. And that alone kind of tells you a story what is going on in so many countries these days. That is, you have these beers and breweries in various places. And for example, if you travel United States, if you're American, you already know this. It's like when you travel from one state to another, the beer selection might change like that. You just had one beer here, but once you go over the state line, it's gonna be a different setting with different beers, different breweries, and all that stuff. And even the culture can kind of be, changing. Because after all, as we all know, America being a big country with 50 states and all, it's much like, Europe. Like, for example, what do you have in Germany? Now I'm talking about in Europe, in case you're just geographically challenged person. For example, if you go from Germany to Belgium, of course the beer culture is different. If you go from France, obviously it's different. Even though nowadays you can pretty much even go to Italy and find great craft beers. I mean, I've had, but never ever before that I would even imagine that the Italians would be like drinking these kind of beers, because after all, most countries in the world still drink the basic lager beer. It's just the world's most famous kind of a beer, and people, well, that's what they expect, that's what they want. So many of these kind of beers, especially when we're talking IPAs and sours, they're kind of a challenging because they can be really hoppy, they can be really bitter, they can be so strong that you don't even want to drink even if the taste was good. I mean, it's a very different story to drink some, say, 10% strong beer versus having your general 4.5 kind of a lager beer. Different story and different purpose, I guess. Much like different kind of food. I mean, you don't necessarily have pizza on your breakfast table when you just want to have a bowl of oatmeal or a couple of sandwiches. Well, that's just me blathering again. Once again, I want to thank you, my friend, for sending this great box. I'm really looking forward to have them. I mean, I'm already thirsty, not having a glass of water for a couple of hours or so. And when opening this box, my wild imagination started to run like a crazy person. And I don't now want to just end this video to get my beers conquered. I don't have an opener here, so I won't be opening one before the video over here. Let's just say that I keep thumbs up that everything here within the box is just good. Now that you know I'm a beer fan, feel free to ask me questions or pointers or ideas, whatever is beer related. In case you are newbie to the beer, maybe I can tip you off with something, or maybe you're a veteran and you can really give me tips. I mean, I have plenty of friends who have had like thousands of different kind of beers, and they always, have pointers like, hey, Jerry, why don't you taste this or that brand, or have you tasted this and that kind of a beer? That is one really good thing about beer hobby or enthusiasm, that it's much like metal music. You can always find interesting new things to just enjoy. So it's an everlasting journey. True beers and true metal albums. Really, really great stuff. Anyway, enough rambling. Time to say bye-bye and see you soon with more Rauta videos coming your way. Should you have feedback, let me know. Drop your comment and all that. Bye-bye.